The alarm on Ryan's phone shattered the fragile peace of dawn like a gunshot in a confessional, its shrill wail yanking him from the depths of a dream he wished would never end. He bolted upright in a bed that wasn't his, sheets tangled around legs that felt foreign in their contentment. And there, inches away, was Tyler, chest rising and falling in the soft gray light filtering through half-drawn blinds, a faint smile lingering on his lips as if the night had etched joy into his sleep. Ryan's heart slammed against his ribs, not from fear, but from the brutal clarity of what he'd done. Hours from vowing forever to Emily, he'd crossed a line with the one man who'd always haunted his soul, and now the world outside was closing in like a noose. "Shit," Ryan whispered, his voice cracking as he swung his legs over the edge of the mattress, bare feet hitting the cool hardwood floor of Tyler's cramped Brooklyn apartment. The city hummed beyond the window, honking taxis, distant sirens, a symphony of New York indifference that mocked the chaos erupting inside him. He glanced back at Tyler, still asleep, oblivious to the grenade Ryan had just pulled the pin on, and for a split second, the urge to crawl back under those covers and pretend the wedding was a nightmare surged through him like heroin. But reality didn't negotiate. His tuxedo hung in the closet like a hangman's suit, steam-ironed and waiting, and Emily's texts were already piling up. "Where are you? Mom's freaking out. Love you." Ryan's thumb hovered over the screen, guilt twisting his gut into knots. How the hell had he ended up here, in the bed of his high school crush, the night before the biggest mistake or salvation of his life? Ryan had always known he was different, even back in the sticky summers of suburban Ohio, where football fields baked under relentless sun and boys like him learned early to bury secrets deeper than backyard time capsules. He was the golden boy, quarterback with a killer smile, valedictorian whisperer, the kid whose dad slapped his back after every touchdown and whose mom baked apple pies that won county fairs. But beneath the Letterman jacket, Ryan harbored a truth that could unravel it all. A pull toward the rough edges of other boys, the way their laughter lingered in locker rooms, the accidental brush of shoulders that sent electricity crackling through his veins. Tyler had crashed into his world senior year like a meteor, transferring from some artsy school upstate with paint under his nails and a sketchbook perpetually tucked under his arm. He was everything Ryan wasn't, unapologetically queer, with blonde curls that defied gravity and eyes the color of storm-tossed ocean, always challenging teachers with questions that bordered on rebellion. They met in AP Lit, dissecting The Great Gatsby while Tyler doodled Gatsby's green light as a fractured heart. "It's not about the dream," Tyler had said one afternoon, leaning too close over Ryan's desk, his breath warm against Ryan's ear. "It's about chasing what you can't have and pretending it doesn't break you." Ryan had laughed it off. But that night, alone in his room with posters of Tom Brady staring down like judgmental gods, he'd replayed the moment until his skin burned. They became unlikely friends, study sessions bleeding into late-night drives along the Scioto River, sharing stolen beers from Ryan's dad's fridge and stories that skirted the edges of confession. Tyler talked about his mom's gallery in Manhattan, how she'd fled a bad marriage to chase neon dreams. Ryan spun tales of college scouts and pro dreams, anything to drown out the ache of wanting to trace the ink stains on Tyler's fingers. One humid July night, after a bonfire party where the air reeked of bonfire smoke and cheap vodka, it happened. They were sprawled on a quilt by the river, stars smeared across the sky like forgotten promises, and Tyler turned to Ryan with that half-smile that could disarm a bomb. "You ever wonder what it'd be like if we didn't have to hide?" His voice was soft, laced with the vulnerability of someone who'd already lost too much. Ryan's heart thundered. He could have played it cool, blamed the buzz, But instead, he leaned in tentative, terrified, and their lips met in a kiss that tasted like freedom and fire. It was clumsy, urgent, hands fumbling over unfamiliar terrain, breaths mingling in the dark. For those stolen minutes, the world narrowed to the press of Tyler's body against his, the whisper of "I've wanted this" against his neck. But dawn brought sobriety and shame. Ryan pulled away, mumbling excuses about Dad's expectations, the scholarship that demanded perfection. "This can't. We can't," he said, voice breaking like cheap glass. Tyler didn't beg. He just nodded, eyes glistening but chin lifted. "Yeah. I get it." The American dream's got no room for detours. He left for NYU that fall, vanishing into the city's maw, and Ryan buried himself in Ohio State scarlet. Dates with sorority girls that felt like auditions, and a closet door slammed shut so tight it might as well have been welded. Years blurred into a haze of corporate ladders and craft beers. Ryan landed in New York, Wall Street analyst by day, king of awkward brunches by weekend, chasing the ghost of normalcy. Emily entered stage left at a rooftop gala, all golden waves and venture capital smiles, the kind of woman who made his parents beam from grainy Zoom calls. She was safe, ambitious, the perfect shield against the questions Ryan dreaded. "When's the ring, kids?" They clicked on paper, shared love of indie films, weekend hikes in the Catskills, and when she proposed a courthouse elopement turned black tie affair, Ryan said yes without flinching. It was easier than coming out, easier than admitting the hollow echo in his chest every time he looked at her. But fate, that cruel playwright, had other scripts. A month ago, at a high school reunion in Columbus, 30-somethings nursing regrets over lukewarm punch, Tyler appeared like a specter, leaner now, with tattoos snaking up his forearms and a freelance photographer's edge to his grin. "Fancy seeing the prodigal straight boy," he teased, clinking glasses, but his eyes held the weight of unfinished business. One drink led to two, stories to secrets. Tyler was thriving in Brooklyn lofts, shooting for indie mags, out and proud with a string of boyfriends who never stuck. Ryan confessed fragments, the pressure, the facade, over greasy diner fries at 2 a.m. "Emily's great," he lied, "but sometimes I wonder." Tyler's hand on his knee under the table was a spark to dry tinder. They parted with a hug that lingered too long, but the pull was magnetic. Last night, after the rehearsal dinner where Emily's family toasted futures Ryan couldn't envision, he texted Tyler on impulse. "Can't sleep." Meet, a dive bar in the East Village became confessions over whiskey shots, laughter turning to loaded silences. "You're getting married tomorrow," Tyler said, voice raw. And nothing," Ryan replied, but his eyes betrayed him. Tyler's apartment was a short stumble away, walls plastered with black and white prints of lovers in repose, a bed that smelled of sandalwood and possibility. They didn't plan it. It unfolded like a storm, clothes shed in a trail from door to sheets, bodies remembering what words had forgotten. Tyler's touch was reverent, mapping scars Ryan didn't know he had, whispers of "you deserve this" mingling with gasps. It was more than sex, it was reclamation, a middle finger to the script Ryan had memorized. Now, as the clock ticked toward catastrophe, Ryan dressed in silence, tuxedo jacket slung over his arm like armor. Tyler stirred, blinking awake, his face crumpling into a mix of hope and hurt. "Morning, Groom," he murmured, sitting up, sheets pooling at his waist. Ryan's throat tightened. I have to go. The ceremony's at noon." The words tasted like ash. Tyler's laugh was bitter, eyes searching Ryan's for the coward he knew too well. So that's it? One night to scratch the itch before you play house. It's not like that. Ryan knelt by the bed, hand reaching for Tyler's, fingers intertwining like they had by the river years ago. You think I don't feel it? Every goddamn day. I wake up wanting this, wanting you. But Emily, my family, it's bigger than us. Bullshit, Tyler snapped, pulling away, the rejection a fresh wound. It's fear, Ryan. Plain and simple. You're choosing a lie because it's comfortable. He stood, gloriously unashamed in his nudity, pacing the room like a caged panther. Remember the river? You said we couldn't because of Dad's dreams. Now it's Emily's ring. What's next? The kids you'll never love. The barb hit home, drawing blood. Ryan's vision blurred with unshed tears. I love her, in a way. She's my best friend. Tyler stopped, face softening into something achingly tender. But do you love her like this? He closed the distance, cupping Ryan's jaw, thumb brushing his lip. Their kiss was slow, devastating, a goodbye wrapped in longing. When they broke apart, Tyler pressed his forehead to Ryan's. Go. But know this, if you walk down that aisle, you're not just marrying her. You're burying us. Ryan fled into the elevator, the ding echoing like a death knell, hailing a cab to Midtown where Emily waited in a cloud of tulle and optimism. The city blurred past, skyscrapers piercing the sky like accusations, as his phone buzzed relentlessly. Hurry, babe. Traffic's a nightmare. He typed back platitudes, but his mind replayed Tyler's words, the warmth of his skin, the way his name felt like a prayer on Ryan's tongue. The hotel suite was a whirlwind of lace and lilies, Emily radiant in her gown, her mother fussing over boutonnieres. There you are, Emily exclaimed, pulling him into a hug that smelled of Chanel and vanilla. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, oblivious to the storm raging in his chest. I was worried. Rough night. Something like that, Ryan managed, forcing a smile as the photographer snapped candids. In the mirror, he looked the part, debonair, destined. But inside, fractures spiderwebbed his resolve. The ceremony loomed in St. Patrick's Cathedral, Gothic spires clawing at the November sky, a venue Emily had chosen for its timeless romance. Guests milled in the vestibule, Ryan's parents beaming from the front pew, Emily's venture capital clan toasting with flutes of youth. As the organ swelled with Mendelssohn's March, Ryan stood at the altar, heart pounding a traitor's rhythm. Emily appeared at the end of the aisle, ethereal in white, her veil a cascade of whispers. But in that suspended moment, as she glided toward him, Tyler's face superimposed over the stained glass saints, accusing, imploring. Ryan's breath hitched. What if he ran? What if he said no? The officiant cleared his throat. Dearly beloved. Emily's hand trembled in Ryan's as they exchanged rings, the gold band slipping onto his finger like a shackle forged in hellfire. I do, she vowed, voice steady and sure, her eyes locking onto his with a trust that twisted the knife deeper. Ryan echoed the words, mechanical, his I do hanging in the vaulted air like a confession unspoken. The cathedral's bells pealed triumphantly as they kissed. Chaste, performative, a seal on a contract Ryan had already breached in the dim hours before dawn. The reception blurred into a kaleidoscope of toasts and twinkle lights, a rooftop affair at the plaza where Manhattan sprawled like a glittering conquest below. Ryan played the groom, charming aunts with anecdotes, slow dancing with Emily to At Last, while her head rested on his shoulder, whispering dreams of Hampton's weekends and Sunday kids. "This is our beginning," she murmured, fingers tracing his lapel. Guilt gnawed at him, feral thing, because in her arms, he felt the weight of her love, pure, unyielding, and it shamed him that he couldn't mirror it fully. Across the room, his phone vibrated in his pocket, a phantom buzz he'd silenced but couldn't ignore. "Tyler. Congrats, I guess. Hope the hangover's worth it." The words stung like salt in an open wound, and Ryan excused himself to the balcony, the November chill biting through his tux as he dialed. Tyler picked up on the third ring, background noise of a dive bar jukebox, Springsteen crooning about Thunder Roads. "Shouldn't you be cutting cake, Mr. Thompson?" Ryan leaned against the railing, city wind whipping his hair. "I did it. We're married." Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. Then, Tyler's voice, edged with gravel. "How's it feel? Like winning the Super Bowl or swallowing glass?" "Both," Ryan admitted, throat tight. "Look, last night. It was real. You're real. But this..." He glanced back at the party, Emily laughing with her bridesmaids, radiant as a sun he couldn't orbit. "This is my life now." Tyler's exhale crackled through the line. "Your life? Or the one they wrote for you?" A pause, heavy with memory. "Remember prom? You ditched the after-party to drive me home because I was too buzzed. We parked by the quarry, stars out like diamonds, and you admitted you hated the corsages, said they felt like nooses around your neck. I kissed you then, first one sober, and you kissed back like you were starving." Ryan closed his eyes, the quarry's gravel crunching under his memory. "I remember. And now? You're okay tying the knot with someone who doesn't see you. The real you." Tyler's tone softened, laced with that humanistic plea that always undid Ryan. "I'm not asking you to blow up your world. Just don't pretend mine didn't exist." The call ended with an abrupt click, leaving Ryan adrift in the night air, the party's laughter mocking his isolation. He pocketed the phone and re-entered the fray, but the champagne tasted bitter, the congratulations hollow echoes. Honeymoon in Maui was Emily's dream, palm-fringed beaches, Mai Tais at sunset, and Ryan threw himself into it, determined to make it work. They snorkeled coral reefs teeming with neon fish, her laughter bubbling like the waves as she pointed out sea turtles. Nights blurred into lovemaking that was tender, if not electric. Emily's touch was skilled, tentative, but it skimmed the surface, never diving to the depths where Ryan's desires churned unspoken. He faked moans, whispered endearments, but in the quiet aftermath, staring at ceiling fans whirring like accusatory eyes, guilt morphed into resentment, not at her, but at the cage he'd built. Back in New York, routine settled like frost. Emily dove into her startup, late nights pitching apps for eco-travel. Ryan climbed spreadsheets at Goldman, mergers and acquisitions that felt as soulless as his vows. They hosted dinner parties in their West Village brownstone, Emily's laughter the soundtrack, but Ryan's smiles grew brittle, his eyes wandering to the men at the table, the barista with the easy grin, the architect with inked forearms peeking from rolled sleeves. Tyler haunted the periphery, a ghost in Ryan's feeds. Instagram shots of Central Park lovers, shadowed alleys in Bushwick, captions laced with quiet defiance. Chasing light in the dark. Ryan scrolled late at night, thumb hovering over like, heart a battlefield. 3 months in, the first crack appeared. Emily's period was late stress, she said, from board meetings, but the test sticks piled up negative. Relief mingling with an undercurrent of dread. Maybe we're not ready, she ventured over takeout Thai, her foot hooked around his calf under the table. Or maybe. Adoption? Surrogacy? Ryan nodded, but the words lodged like thorns. Fatherhood? To a child he'd love platonically, perhaps, but the image fractured against visions of Tyler teaching a kid to frame shots. Roughhousing in sun-dappled grass. The betrayal brewed subtly, a slow poison. It started with a work conference in Chicago, Ryan's excuse to detour, texting Tyler, in town. Coffee? They met at a lakeside cafe. Wind off Lake Michigan sharp as regret, and conversation flowed like contraband. Tyler, fresh from a gallery show, showed photos on his phone, raw, intimate portraits of queer joy, couples entwined in subway cars, elders holding hands at pride parades. This is what I fight for, he said, eyes fierce. Stories that matter. Ryan's hand brushed his across the table. Electric. I miss that fire in me. Tyler's gaze held challenge and compassion. It's not gone. Just buried. The kiss in the hotel lobby was inevitable, desperate, shadowed by potted palms, leading to Ryan's room, where they unraveled like threads pulled loose. It was slower this time, exploratory, Tyler mapping Ryan's body with lips and whispers, drawing out truths in the dark. Tell me what you need. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Ryan confessed fragments, the wedding doubts, Emily's oblivious grace. Tyler listened without judgment, tracing patterns on Ryan's chest. You're not a villain, just scared. But lies eat you alive. Ryan returned to New York fortified in denial, but the affair ignited. Stolen lunches in hidden bistros, texts veiled as client meetings, nights when Emily worked late and Tyler's apartment became sanctuary. It was intoxicating, the secrecy sharpening desire, Tyler's laugh a balm to Ryan's fraying edges. For the first time, Ryan felt seen, not as the performer, but the man beneath, vulnerabilities aired like laundry, dreams voiced without apology. Emily noticed the shifts, Ryan's distant stares, the phone angled away. Everything okay at work? She'd ask, curling against him in bed, her touch seeking connection he rationed like contraband. Fine, he'd lie, kissing her forehead. Just tired. The guilt festered, humanistic in its complexity. Emily deserved truth, Tyler deserved wholeness, and Ryan deserved peace. But peace felt like surrender. Climax shattered on a rainy April evening. Emily came home early from a pitch, finding Ryan's phone unlocked on the kitchen island, Tyler's text glowing. Last night was everything. When can I see you again? The world tilted. She confronted him in the living room, rain lashing windows like judgment, her face a mask of betrayal, confusion yielding to fury, tears carving paths down porcelain cheeks. Who is he? She demanded, voice a whip crack. Ryan crumpled onto the sofa, the dam breaking. He spilled it all, the high school spark, the wedding eve surrender, the months of duplicity. Emily listened, arms crossed like armor, her silence more damning than screams. You're gay, she stated finally. Not a question, the word landing like absolution and indictment. And you let me believe. God, Ryan, the wedding, our life. I'm sorry, he choked, reaching for her, but she recoiled. I love you, as a friend, more than that. But not the way you need. She laughed, hollow and heartbreaking. I knew something was off. The way you looked at me during vows, like you were memorizing a script, hurt flashed to resolve. I want a divorce. Now. The papers filed swiftly, Emily's efficiency a mercy. She moved to her sister's in Soho, leaving Ryan in the echoing brownstone, walls whispering accusations. Friends circled wagons around her, whispers of poor M slicing Ryan's social orbit. His parents called from Ohio, voices thick with disappointment. We raised you better than this, son. Isolation was a crucible. Ryan quit Goldman, the suits suffocating, took freelance consulting, days blurring into therapy sessions where he unpacked the boy who'd traded authenticity for approval. Tyler, wary at first, you burned us both, re-entered cautiously, their reconnection a tentative bridge over chasms of regret. Summer unfurled in New York like a reluctant confession, humidity clinging to skin like unspoken sins, and Ryan navigated the wreckage with the grace of a man learning to walk on water. The brownstone, once a love nest, echoed with solitude. Emily's throw pillows stacked in closets, her vanilla candles gathering dust. He filled evenings with runs along the Hudson, pounding pavement until lungs burned, chasing the high of exhaustion to drown the what-ifs. Therapy became ritual, Dr. Lena, with her no-nonsense bob and Midwestern bluntness, peeling back layers like an onion. Betrayal isn't just to her, she'd say, notepad balanced on knee. It's to yourself. What does Ryan 2.0 look like? He sketched him in fragments. Mornings journaling dreams unfiltered, afternoons volunteering at the Ali Forney Center, where queer youth shared stories that mirrored his buried youth, rejections, runaways, resilient sparks. Holding space for a scared 16-year-old named Jax, who sketched like Tyler once did, Ryan glimpsed redemption. Not erasure of pain, but alchemy into purpose. Tyler orbited at arm's length, their coffees laced with caution. I'm not your rebound, he'd worn over oat milk lattes in Williamsburg cafes, curls tamed by a backward cap, camera slung over shoulder like a shield. But proximity eroded defenses. A gallery opening for Tyler's new series, Fractured Vows, portraits of queer heartbreak and healing, drew Ryan like moth to flame. The exhibit space buzzed with artsy millennials, fairy lights strung like hopeful veins, images stark, a groom's empty tux on a rain-washed altar, two men silhouetted against sunset bridges. Tyler's eyes found him across the room, a flicker of surprise yielding to warmth. You came. Couldn't miss it. Ryan sipped cheap Merlot, gesturing to a photo of intertwined hands, rings glinting mockingly. This is, isn't it? Tyler nodded, vulnerability cracking his cool. Inspired by, not defined by. They wandered the walls, conversation weaving through art and ache. Tyler's recent ex, a musician who'd ghosted after a tour. Ryan's parental fallout. Dad's voicemails curt with "fix this mess." Laughter bubbled unexpectedly, a release valve, and when the crowd thinned, Tyler's hand brushed Ryan's at the exit. Walk with me. Brooklyn streets hummed with late-night vendors, falafel scents mingling with exhaust. They ended at Tyler's stoop, sitting shoulder to shoulder, knees knocking like Morse code. I'm scared, Ryan admitted, stars winking overhead. Of screwing this up again. Tyler turned, face illuminated by street lamp glow, eyes oceanic. Then don't. Be here. All in. Their kiss was a question answered, gentle at first, then deepening with the pent-up force of second chances. No rush to bedsheets. Just presence. Tyler's fingers carting through Ryan's hair, whispering, "We've got time." Dating bloomed organically, humanistic in its messiness. Weekends at Coney Island, sharing funnel cakes sticky sweet. Tyler's head on Ryan's lap as Ferris wheels creaked skyward. Cooking disasters in the brownstone. Tyler's experimental risotto reduced to glue, Ryan's laughter easing the sting. They navigated conflicts. Tyler's wanderlust clashing with Ryan's nesting instincts, arguments flaring hot then cooling to honest talks over Dawn yogurts. "I need roots," Ryan said one night, tangled in fresh sheets. "But not chains." "And I need wings," Tyler replied, tracing Ryan's collarbone. "But ones that bring me back." Betrayal's shadow lingered, not from without, but within, Ryan's imposter syndrome whispering doubts during Tyler's shoots, when models' lithe forms draped his lens. Jealousy reared once, ugly and unbidden. After a late rap, "Am I just another subject?" Tyler shut it down, not with anger, but empathy. "You're the frame. Everything else is backdrop." They made love then, slow and affirming, bodies a dialogue of trust rebuilt. Emily's olive branch came in autumn leaves, a text out of nowhere. "Coffee? No axes." Ryan hesitated, pulse skittering, but met her at a quiet spot in Gramercy, where maples blazed crimson. She looked transformed, hair cropped chic, eyes clear with post-divorce glow, dating a gallery curator named Sophia. "I hated you," she said over cappuccinos, steam curling like smoke signals. "Then I pitied you. Now, I get it." Coming out's a beast. Ryan exhaled, shoulders a-nodding. "I never wanted to hurt you." "You did." Her smile was wry, forgiving. "But holding grudges is bad for the skin." Friends. The hug at parting was sibling soft, a chapter closed with grace. Emboldened, Ryan broached family. Thanksgiving in Ohio was a gauntlet. Mom's turkey carved with passive-aggressive precision. Dad's silences thunderous. Over pumpkin pie, Ryan laid it bare. Not the affair, but the truth. "I'm gay. That have been since high school. Hiding it cost me everything." The table froze, forks hovering. Mom teared up first, reaching across linen. "Oh, honey. We love you. Always." Dad grumbled, face reddening. But later, in the garage amid toolboxes and oil stains, he clapped Ryan's shoulder. Awkward, gruff. "World's changing. Just be happy, son. That's all I ever wanted." Healing rippled outward. Ryan started a blog, anonymous at first, chronicling the mess, from Groom to True. Posts on closet calculus, betrayal's bite, love's quiet revolutions garnered quiet follows, then a swell. Tyler shot the header photo, Ryan against a skyline, mid-laugh, unarmored. Winter whispered in with first flurries, their first holiday as us. Tyler met the parents over Zoom, charm offensive with pie recipes and Ohio State trivia, easing tensions. Christmas Eve, snow blanketing the brownstone stoop. They exchanged gifts. Ryan's a leather-bound sketchbook for Tyler's visions. Tyler's a vintage Nikon lens, engraved "See Me." Making love by firelight, embers dancing shadows. Ryan felt anchored, not trapped, but home. But drama's undercurrent stirred. Tyler's big break landed. A commission for The New Yorker, documenting queer elders in the AIDS crisis aftermath. It meant travel, San Francisco, Chicago, weeks apart. Ryan supported, but absence amplified insecurities. Late-night calls crackled with, "I miss you," but subtext hummed, "Don't fade." The real fracture hit in February. Valentine's raw edge. Tyler returned from a shoot, jet-lagged and glowing, regaling Ryan with tales of survivors' resilience. Men like Uncle Ray, who'd buried lovers in the 80s, now mentoring with wry humor. It's humanistic gold, Tyler enthused over takeout ramen. But Ryan, buried in a consulting crunch, felt sidelined. Glad it's gold. Meanwhile, I'm here holding the fort. The argument escalated in the kitchen, steam from pots veiling glares. "You think this is easy?" Tyler shot back. "Chasing stories so we don't starve. While you play house. It's partnership, not patronage." Ryan hurled, old fears surfacing, abandonment, unworthiness. Words flew like shrapnel. Tyler accusing Ryan of clinging to comfort, Ryan labeling Tyler a flight risk. Doors slammed. Silence descended. Ryan crashed on the couch. Regret a cold companion. Dawn brought clarity. He texted Tyler, "Out on a fire escape. City awakening below. I'm sorry. Scared you'll outrun me." Tyler appeared, tousled and tear-streaked, pulling Ryan into a hug that mended fractures. "I'm running toward you, idiot." Always. Spring renewal mirrored their thaw. Ryan proposed therapy together, couple sessions unpacking attachment wounds, laughter punctuating tears. They hiked the Appalachian Trail snippet in Harriman, blisters bonding, Tyler's photos capturing sweat-slick joy. Ryan's blog hit a milestone, a podcast invite following, Out Loud with Ryan Thompson, sharing arcs of betrayal to belonging. Yet conflict simmered societal. A family wedding invite for Emily's cousin, where Ryan's queerness drew stares, whispers. Tyler's hand in his under banquet tables was defiance. But a drunk uncle's slur, Adam and Eve, not Steve, ignited Ryan's fuse. He stood, mic in hand from toasts, voice steady, "Love's not a punchline. It's the hardest, bravest choice." The room hushed. Emily's nod from across tables a quiet ally. Climax brewed in June heat. Tyler's exhibit opening colliding with Ryan's book deal pitch, a memoir born of blog ashes. Nerves frayed. They snapped over minutiae, Ryan's forgotten dry cleaning, Tyler's unpacked suitcase. "You're retreating," Tyler accused, packing for a preview trip. "Just like before the wedding," the echo gutted Ryan. "Don't compare. I'm fighting for us." Tyler paused, bag half-zipped. "Then fight harder." He left, door clicking soft as a guillotine. Ryan spent the weekend in purgatory, the brownstone a tomb of takeout containers and Netflix queues that blurred into irrelevance. He paced fire escapes, chain-smoking menthols he'd sworn off years ago, the city's pulse mocking his stasis. Tyler's absence was a vacuum, sucking air from rooms, amplifying echoes of past failures, the wedding's hollow vows, Emily's betrayed gaze. Dr. Lena's words looped, "Conflict isn't the enemy. Avoidance is." So he texted Tyler mid-Sunday brunch, thumbs trembling over keys, "Come home. Let's talk." No defenses. Tyler arrived at dusk, rain-slicked and somber, dropping his duffel by the door like an offering. They sat cross-legged on the living room rug, wine glasses as props, the storm outside a dramatic underscore. "I bolted because it felt like Ohio all over," Tyler confessed, knees drawn up, vulnerability etching lines around his eyes. "You pulling away, me chasing, it's our pattern." Ryan nodded, shame hot in his chest. "I'm terrified of losing you to the road." or me to the doubts. But running, that's the betrayal I can't stomach. Not to you, but us. Tears tracked down his face. Unashamed, Tyler wiped them with thumbs, leaning in until foreheads touched, breaths sinking like a lullaby. "Forgive me," Ryan whispered. "Already did," Tyler murmured, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of salt and second winds. They made love on the rug, urgent yet unhurried, bodies a map redrawn with intention. Tyler's whispers of affirmation, Ryan's hands claiming without possession. After, curled in the wreckage of pillows, Tyler traced Ryan's wedding scar knuckle, faded now. No more ghosts, summer deepened their roots. Ryan's memoir, Vows Unraveled, secured a deal with a progressive press, advance funding therapy and Tyler's gear upgrades. Signings loomed, but first, a road trip, Route 66 Redux, from Chicago's skyline to LA's sprawl, chasing Americana's underbelly. They blasted Dylan in a rented Mustang convertible, Tyler snapping Polaroids at diners where pie was always a la mode, Ryan narrating blog fodder, truck stop philosophers, rainbow flags fluttering defiant in red states. In Santa Fe, adobe walls glowing sunset orange, they stumbled into a queer artist co-op, walls alive with murals of intertwined forms, defiant, diverse. Tyler geeked, networking for shoots. Ryan felt stirrings of community, beyond the binary cages of his youth. That night, under desert stars vast as possibility, Tyler pulled a small box from his pack. Not a ring, but a keychain. 2 silver bands interlocked, etched ours. "Not vows," he said, clipping it to Ryan's keys. "Just a tether," Ryan's throat bobbed. "Perfect." Fall brought accolades and undercurrents. Tyler's New Yorker spread dropped, lauded for humanistic depth. Survivors' faces raw with loss and light. Captions weaving policy pleas. Protests followed. Ryan marching in marriage equality retrospectives. Arm linked with Tyler's. Signs reading "Love One," but fight on. But backlash nipped. Trolls on Ryan's socials. Slinging predator barbs. Dredging Emily's name. One night, post-scroll rage, Ryan shattered a glass against the sink. "Am I the villain in my own story?" Tyler bandaged his knuckles, voice steady. "No. You're human. Flawed. Fighting." They talked till dawn. Ryan journaling the venom into fuel, blog posts on reclamation, turning poison to power. Emily reemerged as confidant, her relationship with Sophia blooming public pride. Double dates at queer bars, laughter over Cosmos, bridged old wounds. "You look happy," she said one evening, clinking glasses. "Really happy." "I am," Ryan replied, Tyler's hand warm in his under the table. "Thanks to you, in a way. You pushed me to truth." Her eyes misted. "We both deserved it." Climax crested in December, snow dusting Central Park like confectioner's sugar. Tyler's grant proposal, a documentary on queer elders' legacies, hinged on a panel pitch in D.C. Ryan tagged along, support system incarnate. But nerves jangled. Tyler's intensity bordered obsession. Sleep sacrificed to edits. Ryan's pleas for balance dismissed as hovering. The night before the pitch, in their DuPont Circle hotel, fuse lit. Tyler hunched over laptop, footage flickering survivor testimonies. Laughter amid grief, hands veined with time holding faded photos. "This could change things," he muttered, eyes bloodshot. Ryan closed the screen gently. "You will. But not if you burn out." The plea twisted to accusation. You're vanishing again. Into work. Away from us. Tyler's head snapped up, exhaustion fueling fire. This is us, fighting for stories like ours. So kids like Teen Me don't hide. He stood, pacing the room's confines. You get off easy with your words. I bleed for mine. The words landed like slaps. Ryan's privilege. His late bloom versus Tyler's lifelong battle. So I'm the soft city boy holding you back? Ryan retorted, voice rising. Fine. Go chase glory solo. Tyler froze, face crumpling. That's not I didn't mean, but Ryan stormed out, into DC's chill. Wandering monuments lit ghostly white, Lincoln's stern gaze, Jefferson's hypocrisy. Hours later, bench warmed in sub-zero, regret thawed him. He returned to find Tyler curled on the bed, laptop abandoned, tears drying on cheeks. Forgive, Ryan echoed their spring plea, sliding beside him. Tyler pulled him close. Always. But we gotta break this. Assuming the worst. They whispered vows anew. Not legal, but soul-deep weekly check-ins. No solo flights from conflict. Morning brought triumph. Tyler's pitch slayed. Grant secured. Hugs from panelists sealing the win. New Year dawned with resolve. Ryan's book tour kicked off in indie shops. Crowds intimate, queer folks sharing arcs. Straight allies nodding empathy. Tyler tagged for coasts, his lens capturing post-reading glows. Back home, they hosted a solstice party. Rainbow lanterns, potluck pierogies from Tyler's Polish grandma recipe, toasts to resilience. Jax from the center showed, sketchbook in tow, eyes wide at the love orbiting Ryan and Tyler. But betrayal's final echo came insidious. Ryan's dad, post-heart scare, confessed over shaky FaceTime. I knew, son, about you. Pushed the normal because I was scared, for you. In this world, the admission cracked Ryan open. Forgiveness flowing both ways. Dad's gruff, proud of you now, a bomb. Spring 2026 bloomed fuller. Tyler's doc wrapped. Premiering at Tribeca. Standing ovation. Tears collective. Ryan's book hit bestseller whispers. Proceeds funding center scholarships. They adopted a rescue mutt. Luna. All wagging chaos. Teaching compromise in walks and whoosh cuddles. Yet drama lingered in micro. A homophobic heckler at a reading. Tyler's freelance drought testing bank accounts. They weathered. Humanistic volunteering doubles. Date nights frugal fantastic. Rooftop picnics. Museum free days. Climax's true peak? Their anniversary. Not wedding's ghost, but first kiss river mark. They drove to Ohio. Scioto's banks unchanged. Quilt spread under July stars. Fireflies danced like fireflies of fate. Tyler pulled a flask, stolen whiskey, and proposed, not on knee, but heart. Marry me? Not for show. For us. Ryan's yes was a sob laugh. Rings simple titanium. Engraved finally. Ceremony small. Emily officiating. Parents teary. Jack's ring bearer. Vows raw. I choose you. Every detour. The wedding unfolded on that riverbank like a poem long gestating. Wildflowers nodding in breeze as guests. A mosaic of queer kin. Ohio holdouts. New York eccentrics. Circled on blankets. Laughter punctuating the hush. Emily, in linen shift and grin, held court. We've got love, loss, and a whole lot of growing up. Ryan, Tyler, your story's a reminder. Truth isn't a destination. It's the damn road. Their kiss sealed it. Sun dipping gold. cheers erupting with Firefly's chorus. Honeymoon was a vagabond loop. Nashville honky-tonks for Tyler's two-step fails. New Orleans jazz brunches where Ryan's off-key What a Wonderful World drew whoops. Back in Brooklyn, domesticity deepened, renovating the brownstone's garden plot. Tomatoes twisting with basil. Luna digging gleefully. Ryan's podcast flourished. Episodes on betrayal's gifts. Pain's the chisel. Love, the sculpture. Tyler's doc streamed. Emmy buzz humming. Sparking school talks where teens like Jax bloomed bolder. Conflicts arose domestic scale. Ryan's neat freak clashes with Tyler's creative chaos. Resolved in compromise. Designated mess zones. Bigger waves. Dad's health rally. Family trip to Yellowstone where grizzlies loomed metaphorical. Bonds mending over campfires. Betrayal's ghost revisited in autumn. A client poaching Tyler's concept. Ripped off frames from the doc. Splashed in a rival mag without credit. Fury boiled. Tyler paced. They stole my soul. Ryan mediated. Lawyer calls and cease and desists. But the wound festered, trust in industry cracked. Nights, Ryan held him through rages, whispering, "Your voice can't be silenced." A countersuit won restitution, plus viral backlash flipping narrative. Tyler's TEDx invite followed, storytelling as survival. Humanism wove through volunteering surges, Ryan mentoring closet closers, Tyler photographing pride elders. Emily's wedding to Sophia, beachy, boho, invited them as honored, toasts reciprocal. To messy beginnings, beautiful middles, climax crested subtle, profound, Ryan's fertility crossroads. Therapy unearthed longing, not for bio kids, but legacy. With Tyler, they explored fostering paperwork labyrinth, home studies probing scars. First placement, teen brothers, Marco and Eli, wary wildlings from foster churn. Nights of board games awkward turning affectionate. Marco's guitar strums echoing Tyler's youth. Eli's questions drawing Ryan's truths. Challenges mounted. Marco's acting out. School fights mirroring internalized rage. Eli's nightmares of abandonment. One storm-lashed night, Marco bolted, found huddled in a park. Ryan's search yielding embrace under downpour. "You stayed," Marco whispered. "Dam breaking." Tyler's doc lens turned inward. Family footage a private reel of becoming. Betrayal microstruck. A sibling squabble. Eli overhearing Ryan's old affair whispers. Accusing. "You cheat too." Heart-wrench. Ryan knelt. Story shared, age softened. "I did wrong once. Learn to do right forever." Trust rebuilt in therapy circles. Hugs tentative then tight. Resolution bloomed eternal. Years folded. Marco off to art school. Eli's braces gleaming at graduations. Ryan's second book. Roots rewoven. Chronicled fostering's grace. Tyler's gallery solo. Tethers sold out. Pieces of their arc. River quilts. Keychain close-ups. A decade on. 60-somethings now. Curls silvered. Lines laughter-etched. They revisited the quarry. Quilt frayed but fierce. Luna long gone. Ghosts gentle. "Worth the detours?" Tyler asked. Head on Ryan's lap. "Every mile," Ryan replied. Fingers laced. The American tapestry, flawed and fierce, held them. Love not conquest, but quiet revolution, human, whole. In the end, it wasn't happily ever after's fairy dust, but after's hard-won glow. Betrayals transmuted to bridges, conflicts to constellations. Ryan and Tyler, woven indelible, proved the heart's vow unbreakable, tender, Tenacious. True.